Hey guys, welcome back. Today I have a 1974 film. It's a mystery. It was directed by Jose Ramon Larraz and it's called Symptoms. This is considered a horror exploitation film, but I'd rather just consider it a mystery. For those of you who aren't aware, exploitation films are generally low-quality movies that draw on anxieties and trends of their time, and they tend to depict violence, sex, drug use, and other taboo subject matter. This story is about a young woman, Helen, who invites her friend Anne to her mansion in the English woods. Helen is a strange, brooding girl, quite the opposite of Anne, who's upbeat. It's not clear how they met or why Helen has invited her, but one thing's for sure, something's not right with Helen. When she and Anne take bike rides, she becomes sulky and makes fake comments about the happenings in the woods. She's repulsed by her mysterious neighbor, Brady, and avoids him like the plague. She doesn't really seem to have much of a life outside the mansion. When they're in the drawing room, she also behaves oddly. She can't stand being away from Anne, and it makes her anxious. There's also a lesbian overtone to their friendship. One night, Anne hears voices from Helen's room and decides to investigate the attic there, but she's gonna deeply regret this. Unfortunately, I was disappointed with this movie. I had high expectations for it. The storyline is thin and the ending was very predictable. The atmosphere makes up for it though, and it had elements of gothic horror that was very big in the 70s with the Hammer horror films from Britain. So I would recommend you check those out if this sounds interesting to you. A few years ago, I would watch a lot of 70s horror movies because they tend to have a very dreamy quality and the scores can be really creepy. I would also do my makeup like the Giallo starlets of this time, and I would constantly be looking for creepy, obscure gems like this one. It's a very cozy movie. It has beautiful shots of the countryside in autumn, but beyond that, there's nothing too special about this. Like I said, these are low-budget films. There wasn't much of a story, really. I was trying to understand Helen, but there's no background information to work with. You won't find out why she's in the mansion alone. You won't know anything about her past except that she's been to Switzerland and she had a friend named Cora. She also writes in her journal from time to time, but her entries are very vague. The acting was alright. If you've watched movies from this time, you know how bad the acting can be. It wasn't unbearable, and I've watched a lot worse, but there was this one scene with Anne that made me laugh because I found her reaction so goofy, but it's easy to overlook. This is only an hour and 31 minutes long. For me, it felt much longer. It felt tedious after a certain point. It kind of reminded me why I stopped watching 70s horror. It became difficult to find good or even decent movies, but it seems like there are a bunch of these new directors who are trying to revive this whole 70s horror vibe. Ty West, there's Peter Strickland. I highly recommend his movies, particularly The Duke of Burgundy. It was obviously inspired by this film, and I figured that out very early on. That one's about a sadomasochistic relationship between two lesbians. Not a family-friendly movie, but it's not extreme, or, well, I didn't find it extreme, but we're talking about S&M, so I liked what that movie had to say about the ebbs and flows of relationships, and gorgeous cinematography, so that's a plus. If you want a 70s film very similar to this one, you can check out Images from 1972. I like that one a lot better. Angela Pleasance did well in this role. She's not a conventional beauty, but she has very striking, unique features, and I personally think she's beautiful. When she'd go through one of her weirdo moments, her icy eyes really creeped me out, and her behavior just fits the mold of a stereotypical weird girl, so yeah, an appropriate choice. 3 out of 5 stars from me. I watched this on a cozy Sunday evening. I had just gotten back to the city from my home in the woods, so I was really in the mood for it, but I don't see myself rewatching this. Thank you for joining me. Until next time.